She was always just slightly out of frame. While the cameras chased Tiger Woods across every fairway and trophy ceremony in the world, Elin Nordegren stood quietly in the background, composed, elegant, and almost deliberately invisible. She was a mystery behind the icon, the woman everyone recognized but nobody truly knew. And then, when one of the most devastating public betrayals in sports history tore her life apart, she did something no one expected. She disappeared. Not into heartbreak, not into headlines, and not into a revenge era built for television. She simply walked away and rebuilt everything from scratch, on her own terms, in complete silence. Before any of this, before the mansions and the scandal and the tabloid wars, Elin Nordegren was just a girl from Stockholm living a quiet, structured life. Born on January 1st, 1980, she grew up in a household shaped by intellect and discipline. Her mother was a respected Swedish politician who eventually served as the country's Minister for Migration and Asylum Policy. Her father was a well-known radio journalist and foreign correspondent. This was not a family that chased fame. This was a family that valued privacy, purpose, and hard work, and those values were stitched into Elin from a very young age. She studied, she worked part-time, and she did a little modeling here and there for Swedish magazines, though she never pursued it seriously. Her path to America wasn't glamorous. It started in a clothing store. That's where she met Mia Parnevik, wife of Swedish professional golfer Jesper Parnevik, who was so impressed by Elin's calm and trustworthy nature that she offered her a job as a nanny for their children. Elin accepted, packed her bags, and moved to Florida, a decision that would change the entire course of her life. Through the Parnevik family's deep ties to the world of professional golf, Elin was gradually introduced to a circle of famous athletes. And in that circle was Tiger Woods, the most dominant golfer on the planet, a billion-dollar brand wrapped in human being, and a global phenomenon unlike anything sports had ever seen. When Tiger noticed Elin, apparently he wasn't alone. Multiple golfers were reportedly eager to meet her, but Tiger was persistent. Elin, by all accounts, was not interested. She had no desire to date someone whose life was a 24-hour media spectacle. It took months of patient effort from Tiger before she finally agreed to go on a date. After that, things moved fast. They got engaged in 2003 during a trip to South Africa at the breathtaking Shamwari Game Reserve. In October 2004, they married in Barbados at the Sandy Lane Resort, one of the most exclusive venues in the Caribbean. The ceremony was grand but sealed shut from the outside world. Dozens of security guards kept paparazzi at bay. The guest list was small and elite. Not a single wedding photo was leaked to the press. It was, in every sense, a love story wrapped in a fortress. The years that followed looked perfect from the outside. They settled into a massive estate in Windermere, Florida, complete with private docks and high-level security systems. Elin kept her head down, declined interview after interview, and built a quiet family life away from the noise of Tiger's empire. In 2007, their daughter Sam Alexis Woods was born. Tiger rushed back from the U.S. Open, where he finished second, to be by her side. In 2009, their son Charlie Axel Wood arrived. 2 children, a devoted mother, a legendary father. From a distance, it looked like a fairy tale. But fairy tales have a habit of falling apart. The first cracks appeared long before the public knew anything. Behind the polished image, Tiger was dealing with mounting physical pressure, multiple knee surgeries, chronic pain, reliance on painkillers, and sleepless nights. The weight of being perfect for the entire world had begun to warp things quietly from the inside. And then, in the early hours of November 27th, 2009, Thanksgiving weekend, everything collapsed. At around 2:30 in the morning, Tiger crashed his Cadillac Escalade into a fire hydrant and a tree just outside their home. What followed was not a simple traffic accident story. Reports emerged that Elin had confronted Tiger earlier that night after finding suspicious text messages on his phone. An argument erupted. Neighbors came outside. Emergency responders arrived to find Tiger unconscious on the ground. The official statements were vague and careful, but the tabloids were already digging, and what they found shook the entire sports world to its foundation. Women began coming forward. One after another, they told their stories. Waitresses, nightclub workers, women from different cities, all claiming affairs with Tiger during his marriage. There were voicemails. There were text messages. There were stories sold to tabloids for enormous sums. The number kept growing. Corporate sponsors began cutting ties. Accenture dropped Tiger entirely. Gillette scaled back his campaigns. Gatorade quietly pulled their Tiger-branded drink from shelves. The man who had embodied discipline and moral excellence for the world was now its most talked-about scandal. In February 2010, Tiger held a press conference, admitted to his failures, expressed remorse, and announced an indefinite break from golf. By the end of that year, his world ranking had fallen from number 1 to number 58. Through all of it, Elin said absolutely nothing. No press conference. No angry statement. No interview from a lawyer. No leaked quote designed to gain public sympathy. While the world screamed for her reaction, she offered only silence, a silence that somehow said more than any headline ever could. She was photographed at school runs, at playgrounds, at the beach, always composed, always dignified, never giving the cameras what they came for. In a culture completely obsessed with public revenge and dramatic exits, her refusal to perform her grief was almost revolutionary. In August 2010, she filed for divorce. Their attorneys released a brief, calm joint statement. The marriage was over, the custody agreement was in place, and that was that. The settlement was widely reported at around $100 million, one of the largest in celebrity history, though official figures were never confirmed. Shared custody was arranged with the children's stability placed firmly at the center of every decision. And then, once again, Elin went quiet. She gave only one detailed interview to People magazine, and in it, she didn't perform. She simply told the truth. She said she had been completely blindsided. She said that for 3.5 years, while everything was happening behind her back, she had been home with pregnancies, with children, and with school. She said the word betrayal wasn't strong enough to describe what she felt. She said she was embarrassed, not from guilt, but from having trusted completely and been deceived completely. She described sleepless nights, therapy sessions, and the terrifying loss of a future she had spent years building in her mind. And then she said something remarkable, that she was working on forgiveness. That forgiveness was a final step of grieving, and she intended to get there. After that interview, she went quiet again. And this time, she didn't just recover, she transformed. While other high-profile ex-wives launched clothing lines, wrote memoirs, or signed reality television deals, Elin enrolled at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida. She studied psychology, not as a hobby, not for a photo opportunity. She actually studied, sat in class, completed coursework, and committed fully. In 2014, she graduated with a 3.96 GPA and received the prestigious Outstanding Senior Award. At the graduation ceremony, she gave a short speech about resilience and gratitude. A woman once defined entirely by someone else's story was now standing on a stage, on her own terms, with her own achievement. She also made brilliant moves in real estate. In 2011, she purchased a $12 million oceanfront mansion in North Palm Beach, had the entire structure demolished, and spent years designing and rebuilding it from the ground up, blending her Scandinavian design sensibility with coastal luxury. In 2020, she sold it for $28.6 million, one of the largest residential real estate deals in Palm Beach County that year. No Instagram post, no press release, just results. Somewhere along the way, love found her again, quietly, as everything in Elin's life tends to be. Around 2017, she began a relationship with Jordan Cameron, a former NFL tight end who had retired early due to multiple concussions. Thoughtful, grounded, and completely uninterested in the spotlight, Jordan seemed to fit naturally into the life Elin had been carefully building. In 2019, they welcomed a son together. The world only found out when Elin was spotted at a soccer game with a visible baby bump. No announcement was made. Jordan later confirmed the news in an interview. That was the entire press cycle. Today, Elin Nordegren lived a life that looks nothing like what anyone would predict it for her, and everything like what she always actually wanted. She owns property in Florida, raises her children with stability that was once threatened by fire, and maintains a co-parenting relationship with Tiger Woods that, by all accounts, has grown into something respectful and child-centered. She's been seen at Charlie's junior golf tournaments, cheering quietly from the sidelines, never pulling focus. Tiger himself has acknowledged her as an extraordinary mother. The woman who was once chased by every tabloid on earth is now almost entirely absent from them. And that absence isn't defeat. It's the whole point. It's the life she chose the moment she stopped letting other people's choices define her story. She took one of the most public betrayals in modern history, sat alone with the wreckage, and built something extraordinary from it. Quietly, intelligently, and completely on her own terms. That might just be the most powerful comeback story no one ever wrote a headline about.